walking time. Yeah, you're going to booty jail. Kuulge, lähme koju. Lähme koju. Lähme koju, jaa. Now, since Light Brown is super scaredy, I can't really catch her while she's out and about without absolutely panicking everyone else as well. So I'm gonna have to wait until she goes on the nest again so that I can put her back in the cage of shame, because she's definitely still broody. She's making all the sounds and she's being pissy at everyone. So that's gonna have to happen. It's also super windy, which is not the best time for filming, but I'm going to go to the town and just give her a chance to chill out and hopefully go back on the nest without having her spend too much time on the nest again, because I need to get some food from the town, and then when I get back I'm gonna put her back in the cage if she is on the nest. She probably will go back on the nest. So I just went to the indoor market to get some well, what do you call it, cow's meat, because I actually want to make beef jerky. Oh, beef, that's the name. And I tried it for the first time last week and it turned out so good. So I'm going to do it again because it's literally my favorite snack of all time, I think. And yes, it's just amazing. And I'm going to make a whole bunch so that I can freeze some for later and just have a more full dehydrator, because it turns out you only need a dehydrator to do it. Good afternoon. I have had the most amazing day. It has been such a great time. I went to the fair that is my favorite fair of all time. It's basically the fair at the agricultural museum, where they bring out like a whole bunch of like agriculture animals and they show them all and they choose the best ones of each category, and it's also like all the fair foods and like all the fair stuff, and it's all outdoors, so I feel comfortable enough going COVID safety wise. And I loved it there. I had such good conversations with the people who brought their sheep, because I want to have my own sheep at some point, and we had such good conversations, and they were really like willing to help me out with like the practical knowledge that I can't get from the internet. So basically, if I like when I get to that point and I need some like practical experience, then they will be willing to give it to me for free. So I am really excited for that, and just happy that I managed to like make that contact with the actual people in the industry. And yes, I had a wonderful time. But now I'm back in the garden and my beans need harvesting. Now these are my broad beans, and these are fully dried out, so I can just harvest the shells and shell them later sometime, just watching TV or something. And unfortunately, I wasn't very successful with the other kinds of fun beans that I grew this year. For example, my yin yang beans, they didn't like produce any beans at all for some reason. And of the colorful beans that were like these sort of speckled white and red beans, those I only got like a handful of a total. So that wasn't the most successful bean year, but I did get a whole bunch of these broad beans, which are the same beans that I grew last year as well. So it's something. It's still food, even though it's ridiculously cheap, so it won't count as much in my Excel table, but it's still nice to know that I can grow one other staple food for myself. And another thing that I did this week that I am like semi-proud of is that I finally managed to meet with a local guy from the village where I bought my land. So the reason why I am like happy that I did that is like twofold. One is because I know that he has cows, and because of that he also has like a lot of the like tractor equipment that I need but don't have yet, and that's something like a connection that I really need to have, because I need someone to basically mow the land until I can start like taking care of it myself once I have my own tractor. So we managed to come to terms that he will mow the land this year and probably next year as well. And basically, like that was like the official like business end of the meetup. But also, I'm sort of happy that I did that, because it's also kind of community building. Because this guy was the first person that I met, who lives in the actual village where I want to build my life. So I was super happy to like meet and get like just make this connection, because I like do want to get along with my future neighbors, you know. And yeah, it's sort of gave me like a warm feeling that I am getting to know the area where I'm going to be living in the future and like building my farm life. So yeah, that's what I wanted to share. And I'm going to keep shelling the beans while I keep an eye on the chickens. Good morning. Today I'm gonna be doing something that I should have done a very, very long time ago. I'm not going to say how long ago because I am embarrassed about it, but I'm finally going to be clearing out the chicken coop from the old pine shavings and put in new ones so that the coop is ready for winter and nicely insulated for it. So let's let out the chickens.
Let me move. Let me move.
Now, one essential thing about cleaning out your chicken coop is wearing a well-fitting respirator, because there is a lot of chicken poop dust in there, and the chicken poop dust, when you inhale it, then it can cake itself in the insides of your lungs, and it's just really, really bad for your lungs if you inhale too much of it. So when you're doing a big clean out, you have to wear a respirator to protect your lungs. Now I'm going to just start out in one corner and slowly work my way out. I'm going to just force everything to the outside, and then I'll scoop it out once it's outside. And there are a lot of feathers in here because the babies have been growing up here and losing their feathers as they go. Because they're growing new feathers. They're adult feathers. Okay, now that I have finally scraped the floors, because there was a lot of caked poop on there, like moisture related scrapable things, and I've also used up all of my ecological like anti critter powder, spread it into the coop everywhere, especially in the corners. It's finally time for the fun part, which is spreading out all the new pine shavings. Oh boy. Later I'm going to spread some treats in all of this so that the chickens can basically do the spreading out job instead of me spreading it all out and doing all the hard lifting. See, now this is so much better. I put a lot of treats into the whole shavings thing, so that when they discover it, they will be scratching away at this all and just spreading it out evenly without much of my extra effort. And now to take all this to the compost pile. Now I'm also going to be watering it in at the compost pile because it's a really dry mixture and it needs water and moisture in order to start composting. So I'm gonna do that. Now this is probably not going to be enough water to keep the compost pile going for the entire time that it needs to compost, because I've read that the pine shavings can take a whole while to properly compost, so I'm not really sure that it's going to make it do with this amount of water that I give it and also become usable compost by spring. So we'll see. Once it does compost down, it's going to be really good compost because of the amount of chicken poop in it, but I might have to buy my compost next year, but definitely not the year after that. But fortunately we are coming up on October and November, which are the months where we get a ridiculous amount of rain, so it's at least going to definitely be moist enough to compost at some point. So this old girl is gonna be okay now. And now I need a thorough shower because goodness gracious, cleaning out the coop was hot work. But now at least the chickens can be nice and ready for winter on the inside of the coop at least. The outside area still needs doing. Chickens are so funny. They can become fussy over anything. For example, you know how I removed their old pine shavings from the coop floor and replaced them with new ones so that they could be happily clean and everything? They they only laid 2 eggs the following day because they were so upset over it, so disturbed by the new suddenly clean surroundings. so so yes, they were dramatic, but today I'm getting like a normal amount of eggs again. It looks like it's going to be about 5 or 6, so they have recovered from the shock that was the fresh cleanliness. But what I wanted to do today was get some potatoes dug up because I need them for dinner and I don't have any that are already dug up. Also, if I feel like it, I will do some weeding. Now I only have 1 row of my regular eating potatoes left. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to dig all of it up and eat as many as I will eat today and tomorrow, and then leave all the rest of the potatoes as seed potatoes for next year because I wanted to save my own seed potatoes this year. So it looks like I'm not going to have much to put into the basement this year, but that's okay. Come on, for real? Only weeds, no potatoes? Oh wait, maybe I'm digging a little bit wrong. I think I'm digging in between rows at the moment. I should aim more about here. See, this is the problem when you don't harvest your potatoes while the tops are still visible. Aha! Now you can see there's a considerable size difference in my potato mix, basically. So what I'm going to do with these tiniest ones that are basically too small for me to bother to peel even, these I'm just going to save up and at some point boil them with the crust on, and then I will feed them to the chickens. Then these regular sized ones I will eat myself, and I'm thinking that I might keep the biggest nice ones, the ones that I haven't skewered like this with the tools at least. These I'm going to keep for next year as seed potatoes. That's the plan at least. Okay, well, admittedly the potato harvest this year is not great. It is probably because of the intense amount of drought that we, or not drought, but just heat waves that we got very early on in the season. That is not really normal for our seasons. So I don't really think that I'm going to have enough seed potatoes from this for next year. So I think I'm just going to order this type of potato again as seed potatoes next year, but not order the other types of potatoes that I wanted to seed from my own stock this year, because I still have the one small row of early potatoes in the ground that I am planning to harvest at some point and put into cellar as seed potatoes. And also I have a whole big row in this edge here that is potatoes just meant for mashed potatoes. So I still might get to like have a proper amount of seed potatoes of those two kinds, just not of the regular potatoes for eating. So I think what I'm going to do is just label all of them for eating, since I'm not going to have enough for seed potatoes anyway. So this is kind of a fail, but it has been a difficult season weather-wise because of these early heat waves that have just ravaged my potatoes and what was the word name? Pumpkins. Yes, I'm tired if you can't tell. Also, look at this pumpkin plant being just straight up delusional, putting out a female flower. Like, sweetheart, it is mid-September. You're going to not make it with this one. Come on. But yes, I am tired. I feel like lately, every time I pick up the phone to record, I'm doing something incredibly sweaty, which is not all that I do. Like, I do have other projects going on in my life, just, I don't know, somehow it has turned into a sweaty video.